Today I'm going to show you how to do a no-show tab socks. So these are the short little socks with a little tab in the back, deep heel, and no ribber. And I'm going to do this on my 64 cylinder for women's size medium. I also have a little bit of lycra to give the middle of the socks a little smaller, just like the commercial socks. So just a little bit of snugness in the middle. And so here we are. I just started cast on with the waste yarn, and I'm going to join with the working yarn, and we're going to do this hopefully very quickly. This is my 3 o'clock position. This is my 9 o'clock position. This is the front of the machine, and this is the back of the machine. So I'm going to crank, and then until I run out of waste yarn, and then I'll put in the working yarn. I'm going to stop at the 3 o'clock position, pull the tail through, join the working yarn, put it on the floor, thread through the yarn mast, leave about a 6-inch tail to close in later, and I'm gonna crank 9 rows. The number of 9 was something that I used for my Fair Isle socks, and I kind of kept it the same as 9 rows. It's on my blog, naughtyu.wordpress.com. I'm cranking 9 rows. So I'm going to do the little tab in the back of the heel, in the back of the foot. So every needle in the back, all the needle in the back, plus 6 in the front. Okay, so crank all the way, and then make sure you lift the same in the back. I have these yellow marks here just to help with the counting. So we're going to make a little heel, lift, lift. So to keep this area taut, I use my finger and my hand to pinch, pull down, and fold forward a little bit, and that helps with not having too many heel forks. And I only use one. This one, I put it in about 3 inches from the top. Back to 12 stitches. So 12 stitches. And now I'm finished the decrease. Now I'm going back to the increase. Wrap. I wrapped just because that's something that I can, creature of habit, but also I wrap just to check the latch is open. I'm going to I'm going to move up my heel fork just a little bit, about 1 inch away from the top. And now I'm back to the yellow mark. That means my little tab is done. I push all the needles down, but also I have to double and triple check that all the latches are open. This one's closed. And I'm going to crank 9 rows. Everything's good? One, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now we're going to hang the hem. So I'm going to remove the weight and even the buckle. I'm going to pull inside the work and find the first row of the working yarn, which is this green yarn right here, and this is the waist yarn. So put these bars, they are going to go on top of the cylinder needle. So this is the first one. Put it on the first stitch after the 3 o'clock position. To help with the hanging, I usually put it right next to the needle, and then that makes it much easier. There's still one cylinder needle, but you're running out of bar. Actually, the bar is here, but it's kind of hidden. Pull the tail taut, and then there should be a bar in between these 2 needles, these 2. And then now you're good. You just hung the hem. And now we put the buckle up, and we're going to crank 5 rows. And now we're going to start the deep heel. Usually with regular heel, you just put half of the stitches on a spare needle, and then you just knit the back. But because this is a short heel, a short socks, it needs a very deep heel so that the back of the socks doesn't slide into the shoes. So you need to have them pretty deep. So I recommend that you go back. You count half, and then you go an additional 6 stitches. So in the end, you only pull up 20 needles out of work instead of 32 on a 64 cylinder. So now you crank to the back. Lift 2 needle. So this technique I saw somewhere on YouTube, and it's really wonderful because you don't have to wrap the last 2 stitches. You just lift 2, and then in the end you only knit 1 of them. And that prevents having a hole in the socks. Same on the other side. Lift 2, and then after that you only lift 1. So you can see the needle starting to ride up, and that's when you know that it's time. It's time you need the heel fork. So this is my heel fork with a big bolt. So I use it like this, you know, just to pull it down the work. I put it down pretty low, about about 4 inches below. I'm hitting the tab, so yeah. So there you go. Pull it down and pull it forward. Move it up a little bit. So my target heel is 12 stitches, but before I get to the target heel, I want to lift up two stitches on each side so that you have a little rounded heel instead of a pointed heel. So these are the last two. I lift 2 at a time. Same on the other side, lift 2. And now I'm done with the decrease. I'm going to move up a little bit, and I'm going to start at the increase. So I'm going to reverse it, lift 2, and I'm going to wrap these 2. I'm going to move the yarn behind these 2. Move the yarn up just a little bit. There. So remember the first 2 that we pull up in the beginning? I'm going to knit through, and now I'm going to only do 1. Only 1 of those. And when you go back, that should help not having a gap between this one. Is not having a gap, a hole in your socks. So we're going to push it down, and we're going to knit. So the length of the socks is 45 rows. but I'm gonna split into 3 segments. 10 with regular yarn, 25 with elastic, and another 10 with regular yarn. So I do have a calendar. I'm going to knit 10. Let's make sure that all the latches open. I'm still holding the work down because there's still a big pocket here. I'm going to knit 10. So now I have this lycra that's very, very fine. I'm going to thread it through on the other side. Okay, wait. It's just... Go. Hold that down. And now I'm going to crank. I'm going to crank 25. I have to write this down. If I don't write this down, my socks are not going to match. So 25. Okay. It's really fine. It's really hard to see. I'm going to just snip it off. There's my scissor. I'm just going to rip it off. Pull it back. And I'm going to crank another 10. So 45. The last row, push this one on this side and also this one on this side down, both of them down, so that you have the even number of rows in the front and in the back. So you don't have like one in excess. Like if you crank all the way back to here, you have like, and when you do a Kitchener stitch, you have one extra row. Not a big deal, but not a big deal. So I stop my yarn carrier in the back, to release the heel spring, and then I cut where the yarn just past the yarn mast. So pretty short, about maybe 26, 27 inches. Put that in there. Now I'm looking for some waste yarn. Going in. This is really important. It has to go through the yarn carrier, through the pigtail. Hold it down and make sure it's knitted. And then after that, you can push all the needle in the back down, and then you're going to crank with the waste yarn Make sure all the latches are open, and then you are set. And then just see, hold the work down so that you don't ruin your floor. Okay. So this is what the socks looks like. There we go. And here it's matching. Sorry, I have my socks have to match. And here's the matching socks. And once you do a Kitchener here, you should have a really comfortable short pair of socks, just to walk around the house or, anywhere. So no ribber, and really fun to make. Thank you.